The first time I saw her, I thought I had stepped into a dream. It was my first diplomatic mission to the planet Qythera Prime, a hub of interstellar politics and home to one of the most enigmatic civilizations in the known galaxy. Humans had been in contact with the Qytheri for barely a century, yet their reputation preceded them. Elegant, intelligent, and dangerous in ways we could hardly understand. And in the center of their capital, standing in the Grand Council chamber, was the reason for every rumor I had ever heard. She was unlike anything I had ever seen. Not just in appearance, though she was tall, with an otherworldly glow to her skin that shifted subtly as if it reflected the surrounding light. Her eyes were large, dark, and capable of studying you in a way that made your own thoughts feel exposed. Every movement was fluid, almost hypnotic, as though she moved through gravity differently than the rest of the world. She was a queen among her people, and I, a human ambassador, had been given the rare and terrifying privilege of meeting her face to face. We were in the process of presenting Earth's first official trade proposals when it happened. I had been nervous, trying to maintain a calm demeanor as I followed the rigid protocol outlined in the 400-page guide we had received before landing. Keep your hands folded. Avoid eye contact too long. Speak only when addressed. And above all, do not make her feel uncomfortable in any way. But humans are imperfect creatures. And I was, without a doubt, very human. As she turned slightly to gesture toward a holographic map of the surrounding star systems, I caught myself staring. Just for a moment, my eyes drifted to the curve of her form as the light shimmered across her iridescent skin. In that instant, I felt something between awe and panic. And she noticed. The alien woman turned, her gaze locking onto me in a way that made me feel stripped bare. Time slowed. My heart raced. Every sound in the chamber seemed to vanish, leaving only her eyes. "Human," she said, her voice smooth but carrying an unmistakable edge. "Why do you keep staring?" I swallowed hard. My mind scrambled for an explanation that wouldn't get me ejected from the planet, or worse, executed. I apologize, Your Majesty," I stammered. "I was admiring your, diplomacy." Her eyes narrowed slightly, but there was no anger. Instead, a flicker of amusement crossed her face. "Diplomacy?" she repeated, her tone incredulous. "Are humans so unskilled in etiquette that they must invent excuses when they look upon a leader?" I felt my face burn. "And no, Your Majesty. I meant to focus on the maps. The systems." She tilted her head slightly, her hair, if it could be called that, rippling like liquid metal. "Interesting," she said, almost to herself. Then, with a measured step closer, she said, "You are different from the others." "Different?" I asked, barely daring to breathe. "Yes," she replied. "Others try to hide their curiosity or fear. You do neither. You falter, yet you do not flee. You admit your mistakes, yet you attempt to recover. It is unusual." I blinked, stunned. I did not intend any disrespect, Your Majesty." Her gaze softened slightly, though it remained intense. "Perhaps that is what makes you human." Over the next several days, I found myself constantly under her observation. She invited me to council meetings, not as a silent guest, but as a participant. She asked questions about Earth, our culture, our science, and even our history. It became clear that she was fascinated, not by humans in general, but by me. At first, I thought it was dangerous. One misstep could ruin everything. One wrong glance, one poorly chosen word, and our entire mission could fail. But as the days passed, I realized that her curiosity was genuine. She wanted to understand humanity through my perspective and, perhaps, understand me. Then came the crisis. A rogue fleet of mercenaries, from a system beyond known borders, appeared near Qythera Prime. They were equipped with advanced cloaking devices and weapons capable of penetrating the planetary shields. The Council panicked. Their usual tactics, overwhelming force, precision strikes, were useless against a fleet that could appear and vanish at will. The Queen called for an emergency meeting in the central chamber. "We cannot face them alone," she said. Her voice was calm, but there was urgency beneath it. "We must think differently, unpredictably." I hesitated. I had no experience in military strategy on this scale, yet something in me stirred. Humans, after all, had survived wars across Earth despite being smaller, weaker, and technologically outmatched. Perhaps instinct and improvisation could work here as well. "Your Majesty," I said carefully, "if I may, I propose a diversionary tactic. We can use the planetary rings of Varetha's 9 to mask a strike on their fleet's main engines. It's risky, but it may give us the edge." A murmur ran through the council chamber. The Qythera generals were disciplined, precise, and notoriously conservative in their planning. They frowned at the suggestion of improvisation. The Queen looked at me, her eyes piercing. "You suggest endangering our fleet on an improvised tactic based on instinct?" "Yes, Your Majesty," I replied. "Sometimes survival requires risk. Sometimes unpredictability is our only advantage." For a long moment, she was silent. Then she nodded. "Very well. We shall follow your plan." The battle that followed was unlike anything I had ever seen. Ships flashed like streaks of light across the void, missiles and energy beams weaving a deadly tapestry. Several Qythera vessels were destroyed in the initial engagement, but our strategy began to take effect. Using the planetary rings as cover, we isolated the mercenary fleet's command ships. I watched from the observation deck, providing calculations and guidance wherever possible. The Queen remained beside me, her presence both intimidating and reassuring. She did not interfere but observed carefully, her expressions shifting subtly as the plan unfolded. Hours passed. The rogue fleet began to falter. Their cloaking devices failed under the interference of the ring's magnetic fields, and the Qythera forces struck with precision. When the last enemy ship disengaged, the council erupted in relief. And the Queen approached me. "You were correct," she said softly. "Humans are unpredictable. Yes, but not without merit. Your instinct guided our success." I blinked. I was just trying to help, Your Majesty." She tilted her head, studying me closely. "No. You were more than that. You were human, bold, curious, and capable of errors that become opportunities. Most of my people would not have survived the council's scrutiny. You did. And in doing so, you have earned my respect." The following weeks were surreal. The Queen invited me to share meals with her in private, asking questions not only about Earth's politics, but about my personal experiences, my thoughts, and even my mistakes. Each conversation revealed more of her intelligence and insight, and I realized that our relationship, formal though it remained, was changing. I had made a mistake by staring. A simple human error. Yet it became the spark that changed everything, not only for me, but for the fledgling alliance between humanity and the Qythera Empire. I learned more about diplomacy, interstellar strategy, and alien psychology than I ever could have imagined. And in return, she learned about the human capacity for unpredictability, resilience, and ingenuity. In the end, the incident that began with embarrassment and panic became the foundation of trust. I had survived the scrutiny of one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. I had earned her respect through nothing more than honesty, humility, and courage. Standing in the council chamber months later, I realized how small mistakes often carry the greatest weight. One glance, one moment of human imperfection had forged a bond between species. And as I looked at her, the alien woman who had caught me staring, I knew that our worlds were forever changed. Not by treaties, not by weapons, but by the unpredictable power of a single human being, brave enough to face the unknown and humble enough to learn from it.